Okay, welcome back to the British Classic Bench Press Championships here in Newton Pagnell. We've had a really good session this morning with a lot of great lifting, and we're back with the ladies 72 kilo class, 84 kilo class and 84 plus. I'm Jo Whiteley. I was here this morning. I've been joined by Abby Graham, European Masters champion, who lifted this morning, won her class with an amazing 90 kilo bench press. Did that go well for you this morning, Abby?
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I was really excited, actually. I didn't really know what to expect, and I kind of came into the comp pretty relaxed today, just willing to really just give it my all and see what happens. And it's the easiest 90 kilo press I've ever done in competition.
It looked fantastic, to be honest.
It's everything I wanted today, so I'm really happy. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, I think we are just about ready to start. I can see that the referees are on the platform, the spotters and loaders are on the platform. We have the awesome Joanne Barnes as centre referee now, Phil Frost and Russ Kirby on side referees. We have 45 kilos on the bar, and DJ Chester is coming out. She's got some big boots to fill. She's Charlie Chester's little sister. So I think this is her first national competition.
Oh, wonderful. So she must have the best possible support that you can imagine. She will
Absolutely.
She will have had quality coaching and training up until this point.
Hopefully, big lifting in the genes. She ran out on the platform there like she was fired from a cannon, so she's excited to get going.
And pieces descended upon the hall. Yeah, really
real
anticipation. Oh, yeah.
Very easy.
That was superb.
Well, that's how you want your opener to look, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Look like an empty bar.
She certainly doesn't look like this is her first comp or anything like that. I don't know how many comps she's done, but she looked very comfortable.
I think it's her first national anyway. So here's Julie Briggs. Julie's from the Horncastle Club. I think she's in the M2s. Oh, I don't want to have got that wrong, actually. Looking up. Yes, she's in M2. That would be an unfortunate thing to get wrong.
So I have to say I've been really enjoying so far seeing the mix of juniors and masters and senior lifters, and actually, just outstanding performances in every category that I've seen so far. It's very exciting. 30 seconds. I don't know if you were at the British Bench last year, Joe, but this is a huge event. The hall is packed to capacity, and there's a really, really good vibe. It's very exciting.
It was brilliant atmosphere. So here's Julie for her opening attempt at 45. And that's very easy.
Yeah.
And of course, what you want to do is you want to build confidence. You want to get one up on the board, get a really easy lift in, and then you can start to stretch yourself and think about what you want to do for your second.
Absolutely. There really is just so much that you have to hold in your mind in order to execute a good lift. That your opener, you want that to be something that you'll get, even if you kind of forget what it is that you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So,
you want that technique and that setup, that routine, really to be so nailed in, it's automatic, and you enter a kind of flow state and just do the lift. Now, this is Julie Rose. Julie Rose is also Horncastle.
A lovely opener as
Very
well.
nice.
Yeah, so far so good.
So what goes through your mind, Abby, as you're approaching the bench? You're a very focused lifter. You always look very focused on the platform.
Yeah. So mostly, I'm trying to visualize the lift, but I'm trying to do it in such a way that I'm actually recalling how my muscles are going to feel while I do it.
So it's almost a rehearsal just as you go on the platform.
But it's actually like a physical rehearsal. It's not like I go through the words in my mind like, your feet should be here, your hands should be here. It's more like I try and visualize the feeling. And there's like the bench press is a complex lift, and there's like multiple steps to it. And so I try and also like have in my mind, how I'm going to execute each step of it.
Absolutely. So here's Nicola Elding. Nicola is our communications director in British Powerlifting. Been lifting for many years and made short work of her opener there.
3 white lights and a good lift for Nicola Elding at 47.5 kilos. Next weight on the bar is 52.5 kilos.
So yeah, bench is the most technical lifter in my opinion, especially for women. Women don't have the huge muscle mass in the chest area that men have. So you really have to get it absolutely spot on, get your bar path right, get all your setup right. And here we have Kelly Clark. She's from the Yorkshire North East Division Titanium Strength Gym, being coached today by Matt Brignall, who's lifting later on himself.
Yeah, the longer I've been lifting and benching, the more I've started to understand that bench press is completely a full body movement.
It really is. You need that tightness all over, don't you?
Absolutely.
Well, that didn't look. That looked not quite as easy as I would have hoped for an opener for Kelly there.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was just nerves and she'll settle in.
She got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't in doubt, but it didn't move that well for me.
No. And if you don't know the lifter, it's quite hard to know actually what to make of an opener, because some lifters just move things slowly no matter what.
That's very true.
So whereas with some lifters, it can look pretty fast, but they can actually be 2.5 kilos away from their maximum.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And some people can grind, some people can't grind.
Yeah.
It depends on your technique.
Yes.
So here's Charlie. She's setting up for a massive arch there, it looks like.
Yeah, and interesting, she's also she's wearing a belt, which is more common amongst equipped lifters.
It is.
Because they need a belt to hold their shirt in place. So it's not a necessity for a raw lifter, but some raw lifters really like a belt.
Some people think it helps you keep tight in the midsection, and it certainly wasn't hindering Charlie there. That was a lovely lift.
No. Joe, have you ever used a belt on bench?
I do it with an equipped bench, like you say, to keep the shirt down.
Yeah.
But I tried it out for a few weeks, but it just didn't suit me. I felt like it restricted my arch slightly.
Yeah. I've actually never tried it, and I suppose I personally like to not feel like I'm dependent on more things than I have to be dependent on. So I don't know why, but there's no real reason to kind of feel that. But I guess I'm happy if I don't feel I need it.
I think as well as I use an SBD belt, which is quite a big, thick belt, so it's more likely to restrict your arch in the bench press than anything else. It didn't affect Charlie though.
No.
So here we have Rita Shergold. She's an M2. This first group, I think we have A, B, and C groups in this session, and the first group is 72 kilo class, all the juniors and all the masters, and Rita Shergold is in the M2s, which is the age 50 to 59. And that was nice and easy.
3 white lights and a good lift for Rita Shergold. Wendy Kirkland next at 65 kilos as well. Grace Howes and Holly Human to follow.
Okay, who's up next? Wendy Kirkland. Wendy's a familiar face for anyone who's followed powerlifting for any time. She's been lifting for quite a few years.
Yeah.
She lifts equipped and raw. Lifts in the North Midlands division.
Yes. Yeah, I can only guess at how many comps Wendy's done, but I'm guessing it must be well upwards of 20 or 30 or more.
I can't imagine. Second generation lifter as well. Her dad also lifts.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, of course he does. Yeah, of course.
And that was lovely from Wendy. Such a fast descent.
Yeah.
I'd be really worried about losing tightness if I brought the bar down quite that quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Grace up next. Grace is a sub-junior, Grace Howes. Wow, this is a big lift for a sub-junior. This is already well above
really
body
is.
weight.
Yeah.
Sub-junior age category is under 18.
So yeah, it's pretty special for young women. So actually, I was talking to my partner about this very issue the other day, and he was asking me whether I thought that masters women, kind of would grow into the bench press more and more and more than younger lifters. And I said I thought in general that was the case because men naturally have a lot of muscle in the upper body, whether they've trained or not. So, if they take up powerlifting, they've already got the muscle and they can use it right away. Now, women can build muscle, but it has to be done through hard work. It takes a long
time, doesn't it?
And many women simply have naturally very little muscle on their arms and chest to begin with. And, many years later, they can build thick muscle. So hence, to see such a strong lift from a sub-junior,
and that was a strong lift.
Remarkable.
She had a little bit of drama to start with. I think she had her fingers outside the rings. You have to cover the rings with your fingers, and the referee just corrected her, but it didn't throw her off. She pressed that strongly.
To keep her, to keep her composure as well is very good.
Holly is this is Holly Hume. She's a junior lifter, so that's age 18 to 23. And this goes back to what you were saying, Abby, about it taking quite a while to build up enough muscle, because we have junior categories all the way up to age 23, where in some sports you would be already past it at age 23.
Yes, yes.
And that was very easy. That was a lovely lift from Holly.
Yeah. So I don't want to jinx the next lifter, but no bad lifts yet. Everything's looking really good.
A sea of green.
Yes.
So we have another junior Holly. This is Holly O'Shea.
So I'm also going to say something possibly unfounded, see if you agree, Joe. Do you think that female lifters tend to get more of their openers than male lifters?
Oh no, that's a controversial thing.
Yeah.
I would like to see the data on that before I gave an opinion, to be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's fair enough.
But we are seeing, we'll see as the day progresses, because we're seeing hardly anyone missing openers in these groups.
Yeah.
And look at this. Oh, that was so easy. That was a lovely bench. She had quite a good arch, quite a wide stance, I thought. Her feet were quite a long way apart.
Yes.
Some people find that helps them keep their bum down. Your bum's got to remain on the bench for the whole of the lift, so some people find that very wide stance helps them keep their bum in place. Sophia Ellis, again in the junior 72s. All these ladies are in the 72 kilo class. That means they weigh somewhere between 63 and 72 kilos. And we're seeing a mix of the juniors, sub-juniors and masters.
Yeah.
Just taking a moment to explain to Andy Champ on handout there exactly what she wants. He's, he's good at giving handouts, but he's not a mind reader. So it's always good to just explain exactly what you're expecting.
So another thing to note is that we have just got into the over body weight territory for these bench press openers now. So we're at 75 kilos for the 72 kilo class.
Wow, that was actually 82.5 kilos.
Oh, was it? Am I not following the board? Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. My apologies. Yeah. So we've been in the over body weight
for quite a while.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The screen in front of me is a little slow to update. But yeah, for female lifters, so basically, just on average, because of the effect of testosterone, a male lifter of the same body weight as a female lifter will automatically lift 30% more, as a total. But on bench press, it tends to be even more than that.
Yeah.
And so, actually, a body weight bench press for women, particularly when you're over the middleweight classes, like in the lighter weight classes, body weight bench press is actually easier to achieve. So here, these are huge bench presses that you're seeing here now.
Yeah. We're seeing yellow cards from the side.
So no lift for Ashley Lewis at 87.5.
I can't quite see. There's some discussion with the side referee. Not entirely sure. It may have been a change in position. Her foot may have moved. Her bum might have come up. But unfortunately, that was no lift. And that's a shame, because it was a lovely press. So here we have Ruta Lendretienne. She's back lifting after a bit of a break. I think she's been away about a year, something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, anyone who has been following her on social media will have seen that she's been going from strength to strength in CrossFit, and she's been doing some Olympic lifting, and phenomenally powerful.
That was
great. Yeah,
very good press. Considering as well, looking at compared to all the other girls that have gone before, that bar moved an awfully long way. She's got very long arms. It had a long way to travel.
That's true.
I think Ruta's just passed into the M1s. I think she's a Masters 1, which means she's over 40.
So I think Ruta might be an example of a case where long arms don't have to be a disadvantage in the bench press if you can build thick enough muscle on them. So it's not like a squat where you'll be forever in an awkward position if your levers are wrong for it. I genuinely believe that on the bench press, longer arms, if you can just thicken the muscle enough, I think it can be all right.
Yeah, I think you can overcome it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not going to be advantageous, isn't it? Advantageous in the bench press is always going to be if you've got a nice round body and shorter arms, that's always going to give you a bit of an advantage. But that's going to give you a disadvantage in deadlift. So,
absolutely.
you know, this is why powerlifting is a game of 3 lifts.
Yeah.
So we're back to the top again now. This is for Julie Briggs. This is the first of the second round of bench press. All the competitors get 3 attempts, and this is the first of the second attempts. So did we see only one person fail their opener, I think, in this group?
Yes, I think that's right. And it was a technicality. We're not sure what that technicality was, unfortunately. So it was yellow cards from the side referees, but we don't know precisely what they saw. So let's hope that hasn't flustered the lifter. Let's hope that she can make that correction for the second lift, because the strength was there.
Well, that was a good lift from Julie. A very tricep dominant lift. She tucked a long way, tucked her elbows down, brought the bar down, and that puts the pressure a bit more on your triceps.
Yeah.
So here we have DJ Chester coming out for 50 kilos. And I think her opener looked very easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see the referees there on your screen. You see Russ Kirby on the right there. He's holding a number of coloured cards, and this is how they indicate to the lifter why they failed. But unfortunately, the yellow card has a number of different failures, so it's not always easy. It might be that they've jumped the command, their feet have moved, the bums come up. There's a number of problems that are signified by the yellow card. A little bit hesitant getting to the chest, but no problem pressing that out.
3 white lights and a good lift for DJ Chester. I think being strong runs in the Chester family. 52.5 kilos next weight on the bar for Julie Rose, Kelly Clark and Nicola Elding to follow.
I'm really enjoying that we're getting the opportunity to see the Open, the sub-juniors, the juniors, the masters, and all the weight classes all in one day, in one single competition.
Yeah.
Because usually nowadays, that's not possible for a national competition because
just
of
from
too
sheer
many lifters.
numbers, yeah.
But because the bench press, basically, you're only doing a third as much lifts. You're only doing 3 lifts instead of 9. There's time for a lot more lifters in the day.
That is true. We do have 4 weigh-ins today, so that's a huge number of lifters to go through.
Yeah. Okay, that looked nice. Let's see.
Nice bit of leg drive from Julie there. Obviously, as you were saying, it's a full body exercise. It's not just pressing with the arms.
Yeah. So, apparently there's a sort of a neurological thing whereby you cannot fully isolate one muscle at a time. Like if you were to contract, if you were to try to contract one muscle, you end up contracting others around it. And some people will say that you can exploit that in powerlifting by doing things like crushing the bar in your hands and contracting your abdominal muscles. This tends to produce a larger contraction of all of the muscles in your body. So you can. So this is a reason why you would want to kind of turn it into like a full body movement.
3 reds, no lift. I'm afraid for Kelly.
Okay, that was a no lift for Kelly. I mean, she pressed the weight, but we're seeing yellow cards. And I was looking at the referees, but they didn't. Quite often they'll give a visual indication of what's wrong, either tap their foot or their bum, or indicate that it was downward movement. But I'm really not sure why she failed that.
No.
So here comes Nicola for her second attempt.
55 kilos.
Nicola is in the M2 category. Yeah, her blocks weren't quite. Her feet weren't fully on the blocks there, I think. So they're just adjusting the blocks to her requirements.
Plenty of time.
So, Joe, I'm going to ask you the question that you asked me earlier. Okay, let's just watch Nicola's lift.
Oh, that was easy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
3 white lights and a
Good.
good lift for Nicola
Okay,
Elding
good.
at 55
Yeah, so
kilos.
Joe, what do you
67.5
think
in the next
about
round, bar for
when
Charlie
you
to be followed by Rita
after,
Shergold
when they
and
call bar
Wendy
loaded
Kirkland.
for you on the bench press? What do you think about?
I try to be in that state of focus, you know, just before you go out to lift, you try and clear everything out of your mind. And when you hear that you can bar loaded and you can go out, I go out to the bar, and I guess all that's in my mind is execute, you know,
Yes.
tight.
Yeah.
And on the descent as well, I try and focus on keeping my
Yes.
delts tight, and I'm doing it as I sit here. Actually, I'm retracting my
yeah,
scapula,
yeah.
and I can feel my lats tightening up.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing for me. If I can keep tight and control that descent and bring my chest up to the bar,
Yes.
I know it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Chest up to the bar. Yeah, that's something I try to do as well. Yeah, very much, very much.
I think when I started implementing that as a cue, my bench really started to move.
Yeah.
And you can see Charlie's done the same thing there. You can see her,
Yeah.
you know, the rib cage comes up as the bar comes
And
down.
she's got hard's been lifted, but it's okay. 2-1. She's got that. She's got that. Like it looked like a nice lift. Apart from there's obviously a technicality, but other than that, it was a nice. It looked like a nicely executed lift. Yeah. I find lifting competition it is interesting because in training, of course, you can wait till you're ready to do the lift. You can wait to collect your thoughts. You know, if you feel a bit kind of rushed, you can just kind of calm down and wait.
Yep.
You can't do that in a competition.
Nope.
So
When
it's
it's
an
time to go,
interesting,
you've got to go.
So it's performance. So it's an interesting mental discipline.
So
to,
here's Rita. Her first one looked very easy. She's gone for 70 for her second. And that
Very
was nice and easy as well.
Yes,
Very
yes.
good. Interesting you say that about having to go on time. I've recently incorporated into training timed doubles and timed singles. So I'll do a single and then 2 minutes on the clock, do my next single, 2 minutes on the clock, do my next single. And I think that's
Right.
really helping. And I think
Yeah,
it also
okay.
gives you that cue that, okay, it's time to go, do it now.
Yeah. Because I think. Oh, good. It's okay. It's Wendy. Again.
Here's Wendy. Wendy Wu.
That's a 70-kilo attempt this time.
I think Wendy's benched 70 before. I think this should be fine.
Yes.
And that looked lovely and easy. Yeah.
Very powerful, very confident.
3 white lights
Yeah.
and a good lift for Wendy Kirkland at 70 kilos.
Yeah.
Laughing
as she leaves
the platform.
Yeah.
3 lifters, starting with
Yeah, it's like she looks like she really enjoyed that. That's
She
really
did,
good.
yeah.
It's sometimes it's hard to enjoy, even though technically we do this for fun.
It's true.
Yeah.
Enjoy having done it.
yeah.
80 kilos.
Okay, so here's you know, we're 4 lifts into the second attempts before our first sub-junior comes out. That shows the standard and the quality of these lifters.
Yeah.
And the hall is really packed now. I think we're just about to start. We're just starting our 3rd weigh-in of the day.
It's also really nice to see also, you know, like the younger female lifters, sub-junior females and the junior females, because, you know, I think obviously it's still the case that generally young men bench press is a thing that they like to do.
It's true. It's a
you
bro
know,
press.
16-year-old guy,
Yeah.
they'll go to the gym with their 16-year-old male friends and they'll be bros together and bench stuff. It's such an unthinkable thing for a young woman to do. So it's really exciting to see so
It's
many
true,
young
and to be
female lifters.
executing such a technically impeccable lift,
Yeah.
as Grace just did, and I'm sure Holly.
Yeah.
I think Holly's a junior. It's the other Holly that's a sub-junior.
Yes.
But it's great to see such great technical lifting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to take away from the strength of these young girls.
It's a lot of good technique we're seeing, actually. Now, this one was interesting.
Just a bit too heavy.
She had her feet in a very interesting position there, like
Oh, did
actually
she? I
together.
didn't notice.
Yes, it was very interesting. I don't know the reason for that. She looked stable enough, but her feet were actually almost touching.
But you would need to be careful of that because it's a failure to have your feet touching the upright of the bench.
Oh, is it?
It is. It's one of the
gosh.
yellow
Oh, I
failures.
see. Right. Okay. So so like she didn't she didn't get called up on that on this occasion.
Well,
largely
keep our
because,
eye out for
she
that on the
just
next one.
didn't,
Yeah.
she didn't quite make the lift. But yeah, it was just an interesting foot position, and I don't know why she was in that position. It looked stable enough for her, but it was very unusual. beautiful.
Lovely press there. 80 kilos from a 72 kilo junior lifter. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Next weight on the bar is
I mean, I keep saying it, but I'm blown away by the standard of lifting here.
Yeah. So bench press is still a bit. Bench press only is still a bit niche compared to full power. So it's exciting to see the depth of talent that we've got this year. Actually, so I think I did a national bench competition maybe 5 years ago, and I think there was 3 women all together, and I'm not sure there was anyone else in my class. As an open 63 kilo lifter.
Well, certainly, I think my second ever competition was a local Northwest bench press competition. I was the only female in it.
Yeah.
And that was about 5 years ago. So
change days. Okay.
Now he's
technicals going on.
I think it's her heels.
Yes,
I think I'm just watching the referee on the right of the screen.
She's going to have to be quick.
She is. We can hear the MC timing
left.
Down.
Yeah, she's going to have to get start command within the next couple of seconds, really. She's got it. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, it was a messy lift.
It was.
That is 3 white lights.
Oh, thank goodness. It's good enough. It's good enough.
It's
So I don't know whether all of that kind of flustered her. I wouldn't be surprised. It would fluster me probably a bit as well.
Definitely. But I think sometimes her feet were very turned out, almost 90 degrees to the bench.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when they're so far turned out, it's hard to keep your heels fully down.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what the problem was.
That could be. I think a lot of the time it's an unfortunate shoe choice.
Yes, that does happen actually.
So
if your shoe does sort of turn up at the back, it can look an awful lot like your heels are up.
And so the trouble is the referees can't tell the difference. They have to go by what they see, and if they see that the heel of your shoe is off the ground, then they have to assume that your feet are off the ground, that your heels are off the ground. Whereas in actual fact, your heels might be on the ground, but that's not. They can't judge that. They're just looking at the shoe.
And hopefully 2-1 in a good way. 2-1's all you need. That's fantastic. She missed her first lift, but she's nailed it on her second attempt, which is brilliant. Yeah, the rules say that the feet must be as flat as the footwear allows. However, if you're looking from the front and the heel, the shoe curves up and it's dark, you won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah. And I've seen very, very experienced. Okay, this is Ruta again.
92.5 kilos.
So this is exciting because the British record is 97.5.
And
so
that's Eno Majomi, who's not here today.
No.
Oh,
okay. So
bit of a struggle.
So it doesn't look like we're going to see a record attempt from her today, but let's see.
Well, see what she puts on, because I don't think that was a strength issue. I think that was a technique issue.
Okay.
I think she lost her bar path.
Yes. She's probably got nothing to lose by attempting it, because she's probably won the class already with that
I think
lift.
she probably has.
Yeah, so she might just go, what the hell.
Tony Stevens there, legend in the sport, just passing by the commentary desk.
Okay.
So, where are we? We're just starting out the third attempts.
55 kilos for Daniela Jade Chester.
I think I just heard that Ruta is going for the record.
Exciting.
Okay, that was no lift for
there, unfortunately.
DJ.
That is no lift for DJ Chester.
Too bad.
Well, she got two lifts in, and they both looked excellent.
Yep.
So,
So it's hard to know what somebody's expectations are. You can be really, really happy with how you've lifted, depending on what you were expecting and how your training's gone up until that point. So it's not necessarily, whether you get your lifts, it's whether it meets your expectations.
True.
It's kind of like whether you're happy or not. So sometimes a person might miss a third lift because actually they were just taking a pop at something and they were quite happy with the second. Like sometimes their second might have been a PB for them already, in which case they don't mind,
I was but
no,
I think
no.
she lost that on the
Too
descent,
heavy.
really.
Yeah.
The descent wasn't very positive. It waved about a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes. So it's certainly something with the bench press, which is also the same with the squat, is when it gets to the very, very heavy weights, the feeling of the weight when you unrack it can be quite overwhelming.
It's true.
And you have to be mentally very prepared for that fear. And you have to be mentally
Prepared
in a place
for, yeah.
to override that fear and basically say, okay, yeah, this is terrifying. It's normal. It's normal to be terrified.
Also, when you're at your absolute max, you have to nail that technique. You have to get it absolutely spot on.
That's correct. Yeah,
and this is Julie Piggs. I think I actually said she was a Horncastle earlier. I think she's actually southeast lifter. That's not quite going today.
No. Unfortunately, no lift, just that bit too heavy.
I think she actually pushed it a bit forward. She was very tricep dominant bench there, very heavily tucked, but it didn't quite follow the path backwards.
In bronze medal position, and the bar
so here we have Kelly. Kelly didn't make her second lift. I don't think we quite knew why. It was yellow card fail, I think.
Yes, I think that's right.
So here's Kelly. Trains out of the Titanium Strength Gym in Sheffield.
So she's attempting the same thing that she attempted on her second lift. She's decided not to go up. Sometimes if somebody fails for something technical, they might decide to go up for the third. Oh dear.
She jumped the command.
Oh no, this is not going well for her. Oh, what
no,
a shame. Oh dear.
I think her head went there completely.
Yeah.
She started the lift, but she re-extended her arms before she got the command, so that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I think it had thrown her, you know.
Yeah.
Nicola Elding, Charlie Bond and Rita Shergold to follow Nicola.
But so far, everyone has managed to get a lift on the board, so that's good.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any reason to bomb out, really, in classic bench, unless something goes very, very wrong.
I do feel that the bench is different to the squat in that an opening squat already tends to be quite overwhelmingly challenging.
It's very true.
Whereas an opening bench press, actually just 10 kilos less than your max, can actually be pretty manageable. And so, I don't think there's any reason why you have to open on something overwhelming on a bench press.
No, it should be easy. It should feel like.
Yeah.
17th next round of the bar for Charlie Bond, Rita Shergold and Wendy Kirkland to follow.
Platform crew working very well together today. We've got quite a good team there. I can see both Faye Jordan and Andy Champ, who are hosting this competition, on the platform.
Is loaded, 70 kilos for Charlie Bond. So
Charlie got her first two lifts. She's got quite an extreme arch. I don't mean extreme in a bad way. She's got a very high arch. And believe me, if I could do that, I would.
Absolutely. Okay.
So
she does what I do, actually, the hand out. Oh, something's gone wrong in the
30 seconds.
handing out. Something just not quite right.
Yeah, I think it was the width of her grip. I think the centre ref there was pointing out that she had a grip wider than the maximum allowed.
Yeah. Now that's easily done actually, because from where you're lying, you might see that you're covering the rings on the bar, which would be legal, but it may look different from another angle, so you can think that you've covered the rings when you haven't.
Oh, what a shame!
Unfortunately,
Not
missed
quite.
that.
Unfortunately for Charlie there.
Yeah, I always bench with the maximum legal width grip, but I make sure that the ring is lined up with the centre of my forefinger, so I know I'm covering the whole thing.
Yeah. I must admit, actually, that was one thing that I was thinking about earlier today. I was thinking, right, I must make sure and cover those rings really quite thoroughly. And then when I actually went to bench, I completely forgot about that. It seems like it was okay though. So, but it was something in my mind. It was like, oh yeah, I must make sure that I really cover those rings properly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then forgot. So.
So it's part of the setup ritual, isn't it?
Yeah.
I lie on the bench. I look at my left hand and cover the ring. I look at my right hand and put it in the right place. So the part of people have very different rituals, but the purpose is always to make it the same every time.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so there was a little bit of trouble with the blocks placement just there.
Oh, it's going. Oh, did it dip? It definitely paused.
I'm surprised she managed to press it through, but yeah, downwards.
2-1 in a bad way.
I'm actually surprised the centre ref white lighted that. I'm not sure why.
Well, it seemed to me that I might have white lighted that. It seemed to me that it stalled but didn't dip. But everyone has a different angle, doesn't they? And that's why we have 3 referees all sat around.
Yes.
Bar loaded, 75 kilos.
Here's lovely Wendy Wu. Very cheerful lifter. Giving thumbs up there to, I'm not sure, it's to the crowd or to the handoff man.
Yeah. We've got some good music in the hall as well, actually. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a bit of kind of like bassy, metal-y sort of music.
I think it's Joe's competition metal playlist.
Ah, very good. Yeah. Yeah, they've been quite good at music in the last couple of years in British powerlifting comps.
That's a great lift for Wendy. I think it was very well judged as well.
Yes,
for a third.
Definitely. Which, for someone so experienced, is totally what you expect.
Absolutely.
So.
Bar loaded, 80 kilos, Holly Hughes.
So these are the third attempts for the 72 kilo juniors and masters lifter.
Now, Holly missed this on the second attempt. Look at her
Oh
feet.
yeah, they are close, but they're not quite. Now we've got a little bit of graphic in the way. I can't see whether they're touching or not.
Now, I'm very curious as to why she might be doing that.
She's gripping the bench with her thighs. That's what she's doing.
Do you think it's completely free choice, or do you think that perhaps she has maybe a hip issue that hinders her?
I don't think there's any way of telling really. I have seen people before grip the bench with their thighs to give themselves that tightness.
I can see that. You know, if you can get stability from that, then why not really?
Yeah, I would be worried about her having a problem with her feet touching the upright though.
Yes.
Okay, here's Grace. Grace is... I'm going to be amazed again here. Grace is a sub-junior lifter in the 72 kilo class, and she's attempting 82 and a half kilos. That's just an astonishing weight to even be handling, let alone pressing.
You know, it really is. It really is.
I think Grace is going to be one to watch, a bencher of the future. Oh dear, what a shame. She's going to push through it.
What a fight.
But I think it dipped.
I think it did as well.
What a shame.
Yeah.
But to have the strength to press that out after it's dipped is just amazing.
Also, to be honest, I think if you do a lift like that, I mean, obviously you hope to get white lights for it, but I think that you can be quite proud of yourself for having that tenacity to grind that out.
Yep,
she didn't quit, and now she knows that she's capable of that, so you know, that's really good.
For Holly O'Shea.
Now, I was just checking to see whether that would have been a British record, but the British record stands at 90 kilos for the sub-juniors.
Right.
By the incredible...
90 for the sub-juniors?
Yeah, Mariella Fisher.
Oh, right.
She's just awesome.
Okay, yes.
I've seen her benching 96 this week like it was the empty bar.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
But there was Holly.
That was a spectacular lift there.
I talked over Holly, but that was really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's... that could have... It looked like some people's openers, that did. It was beautiful.
Okay, so Sophia Ellis is coming out for 90 kilos. She's in the junior category. I mean, it's amazing to me that these aren't British records at this weight, but we've just had a look at the records sheet, and it's 95 kilos in this weight class by Alice Francis Freeman.
Although I guess the thing about that was...
No, just a little bit too heavy.
Unfortunately. Although I suppose the thing about records is it really just takes one exceptional performance from one exceptional person, and there's the record.
It's very true.
Ashley to be followed by Ruta, and we then move to the B group with Rachel and
Okay, so we're coming to the end of this group.
gold medalist, Ashley Lewis.
Ashley is in the juniors, the 72 kilo juniors, and she's in first place. She's about to attempt 92 and a half.
Wow. Gosh, okay.
She got 90 on her second attempt. Was this the lift that was quite a bit of a messy lift?
Oh, I don't remember now, actually, to be honest. Yes,
It's
it might
hard.
have been. Oh, she looks like that was quite shaky setup. No,
I think her
No.
descent let her down there.
Unfortunately, that is no lift for Ashley Lewis, but she has won
Yeah,
her
it
class
can be
anyway,
difficult
all is
in
not lost.
competitions.
Last
This
lift,
business
the
of
A
having
group.
to kind of collect your
And it's a
concentration,
good
collect your
one.
thoughts
It is
at the right
98
moment.
kilos
Sometimes
for
you
Rita
feel that
Landrettini.
the
If
time is just
successful, this
running
will be
away
a
from
new
you, and all of a sudden you've got to go and try and lift, and you don't feel composed enough to do it. So sometimes that can
As we
happen.
move into the B group.
Okay, so we now have Ruta Landrettien, who's just returned to the sport from CrossFit, attempting to take the bench-only record off Eno Majomi, who's the current world champion in category.
Yeah, this will be very,
Here she
very
comes.
exciting. Now I have to say her second attempt looked already slow.
She's got quite a narrow grip, but then we've seen her CrossFit, we've seen her doing her
Yes.
handstands and
Yeah.
her ring pull-ups, and
Yeah.
she's very strong in the upper body.
Yeah,
And I think it was a technique fail, not a strength fail on her second.
So I think she's because she's such an experienced competitor.
Look at that, she's lifting off herself
yeah,
at that
I
way.
think her mindset will probably be in the right place to try.
And it's, she just hit a wall halfway up.
Not
Do you
a
know,
world away.
I don't think she was far off that.
No. Good.
I think that was a great attempt, but it's
Yeah.
given her the gold medal in category anyway.
Yeah.
She's the M1 72 kilo bench champion.
Remains at 7. This is for Rachel Atkinson. The order of
Very
lifting
good.
is going to be
Okay, so I believe we're going into Group B now. I believe this is quite a small group, and these are the 72 kilo open group.
Natalie Cameron, Claire Tocker, and Christina Appleby.
Oh wow.
Oh, we have some very good benches in
yeah.
this group. I've just heard the name Christina Appleby Phillips go past, and she's got an amazing bench.
So is that a 107.5 opener I see on the board for her?
Everybody loves Haribo, so I'm told.
I think.
Kids and adults.
Really, that's amazing. That is far in excess of the current British record. Is that
Oh, is
right?
it?
The current British record is 103
For the Open 72s, right?
for the
okay.
Open 72s. Yeah, that's Tasmin Campbell.
Wow. Okay.
Now, I knew that Christina had a huge bench, but that seems like quite a crazy opener to me.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I had in my mind 105 as a lift for her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, we've got a few lifts to go before we see that come around. This is Rachel Atkinson. She's opening her account at 65 kilos.
Do you know roughly how old Christina is?
I don't.
So, yeah, it's just that, of course, depending on how long somebody's been lifting and how old they are, their progression can be incredibly rapid for some people. So it's very hard to judge.
Three
Yeah.
white lights and a good lift. Let's not worry about that. We didn't see any red lights.
Oh, there's some confusion there with the refereeing, but it seems that it was a good lift. Very tricep dominant lift, a huge amount of tuck. Okay, we have Anna Rojo coming out next from the Southeast Division.
So she just sat on the end of the bench there for a moment, and you could see she was kind of full of committed, powerful thoughts as she sat there, collecting her thoughts. She kind of clenched her fists.
Okay.
She looks like she meant to execute this well. So let's see what happens.
Well, she's got a very wide stance, isn't she? Hope she can keep her heels down with her feet there.
Very flexible in the hips.
Very
Slow
tentative
descent.
on the descent. Not the
Okay.
easiest press for an opener.
No. It's okay. She was a fist pump there just as she walked off the platform.
67.5
Yeah.
kilos, 67.5 remains on the bar for Gemma Surtees.
Okay, here comes Gemma Surtees, Yorkshire North East.
Joe, are you somebody who likes an adrenaline rush? I mean, when you're lifting, is that is that a positive thing for you?
No,
like
I get nervous.
Yeah, me too.
I get very nervous.
Yeah. It's never.
I feel
I'm not a
sick
roller
before I
coaster
go
lover.
out.
Yeah,
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, I think for some people they thrive on. I think there are thrill seekers who basically love the buzz of the actual competition moments. And normally I'm just glad when it's done.
Okay, that was a great opener from Gemma. Self-hand out there. I can't self-hand out. Above about 70 kilos, I just struggle with that. I much prefer to have someone hand it out to me. But some people don't like the variability of relying on whoever happens to be on the platform that day.
72.5 kilos for Rebecca Kay.
Okay, here's Rebecca. Opening up at just a little above body weight. But no, I get very, very nervous and very sick, especially before squats, which don't always go well for me. But as soon as I start, as soon as I get going and I've got a squat in, it all flows then.
Yes.
You feel like you're almost on the conveyor belt, It's happening now, you're going to, you do your lift, you do your next one.
Yes. I totally feel that too. So far today, I don't think I've seen any really kind of gymnastics kind of arching. We've seen some good arches, but nothing controversially large, I would say.
I guess we're not seeing a side view though.
True.
I guess if we'd seen, I think Charlie Bonds is quite a large arch. I think if we'd seen that from the side, it might have looked.
But there's been nothing so far that's kind of looked like, that was a 2-inch range of motion kind of bench press. There's been nothing of that sort.
We're thinking about Elspeth McLeod here.
Oh yeah, amongst others, yeah. And I personally, I'm all for that.
Oh dear, the
that
bar
was shaky.
dipped. I think
it did. I think.
2-1, a good lift.
Only the centre ref thought that it did. Now, it can look very different from the side. We're looking almost the same view from the opposite side as the centre ref.
You do not really want your opener to be stuttering
no.
quite like that. So, we don't know why, but yeah, good. I'm glad she got it.
So, Natasha is coming out for 75. That's quite an elaborate setup.
That's a pretty respectable arch there. It's certainly better than mine.
And mine.
Oh, nice.
And a lovely press. That was very easy.
And she got a bit of drive. So the thing about a really big arch is you cannot always get any kind of drive out the bottom of it.
True, because sometimes, especially if you've got the really extreme arch, there's not much of your bottom that's actually on the bench. So if you use too much leg drive, that comes straight up and you failed your lift.
Absolutely. Or you can just slip out of position completely if you were to attempt to get any kind of drive. So basically, I suppose it just has to be advantageous kind of leverages without being able to kind of use that drive. So therefore, it's not an outright advantage to have a big arch. It is for some people, but it's not necessarily always,
it's not always going to give you the win.
Yeah.
Now we can see Zoe Clark here wearing the GBR singlet, which means she's represented her country in international competition.
Oh, what a lovely bench. That was great.
You can see why.
Yeah, that was like a machine. Very nice movement.
So we have another 3. This is quite a small group. We have another 3 lifters to come out for their openers in the 72 kilo opens.
82.5 kilos, Natalie Cameron.
And we're getting in some big numbers already. 82.5 as an opener is huge.
Yes. The other thing about a big arch is it's very difficult to stabilize, actually. You can easily kind of lose your balance if you've got a really big arch.
Okay.
And so in that sense, it's a whole body technique. So a lot of people are quite down on big arches. They think it's some form of cheating. I personally think it's actually highly technical way to execute
I
the lift.
agree. Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I
That
think
was
you
a
can do it.
decent size arch there from Natalie, and she made short work of that press. And as we said, I would definitely do it if I could. I just don't have the flexibility.
Yeah.
Christina Appleby-Phillips and Rachel Atkinson to follow.
Okay, so
The
Claire
bar
is
loaded.
coming out for a 95 kilo opener. This is very impressive. And this isn't even their highest opener. Oh dear, she double bounced on the chest.
Yes, now let's see.
Oh no, what we're
Green,
going
white lights.
Oh, good, it's fine.
Good
Good,
Well,
good.
she got it.
Yeah.
We have got a
So-
different point of view to the referees.
Yes. Depends on the referee. Some referees will hold you in the pause for a very long time if you have a bounce like that. But I think it depends on how the referee interprets that particular
It's tough
rule.
for a referee as well, because in the past I've given the press command just as they've bounced on the chest.
Yes.
So look at this.
This is the big one we've been waiting for.
107.5 kilos as an opener in the 72 kilo class. This is just a hush has
Yeah.
descended on the hall. And this knocks the British record into a cocked hat, it really does.
So she's not just taking a half kilo up in the British record either. She's
No,
going several kilos up.
Absolutely, the British record is...
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Wow.
that looked like an opener.
Green, white lights. And
Wow.
a good lift.
Yes.
Christina Appleby-Phillips.
I'm stunned. That's
Yeah.
4.5 kilos on the best bench press anyone has been able to do since the weight class change in 2011, and she has got
Yeah.
2 more lifts.
She also, it looked like also quite tricep dominant lift as well.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. Yeah, very powerful though, very
Hang on,
powerful.
let's just make sure we've got that right. Bar is loaded, but hang on.
Okay, a little bit of confusion on
Yes,
the...
sorry, Anna, sorry.
table.
Reload the bar, please. Anna Rojo Ekeburua should be first. We didn't see that on the spreadsheet. 870 kilos.
Okay,
is
just a
the
little bit
weight.
of confusion on the table, but we're sorted out now.
Rack height 5.
Do we know, is Christina a bench specialist, or does she do 3 lift comps as well?
Oh no, that is a good question. I think...
Okay, we happy
Do you
with
know, I'm
that?
not sure. I think she does 3 lift
Bar
comps
is
as well. I
loaded,
do
70
have it in my
kilos.
mind that her bench is her outstanding lift,
Yeah.
and quite
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
based on what we've just seen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, as Joe was saying earlier, the leverages which are optimal for benching, in other words, the shortest arms, are an outright disadvantage on a deadlift. And so it can take a huge amount off a deadlift actually to have shorter arms.
Yeah, it's just difficult to get down to the bar, and you have to pull the bar that much further.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I've just looked up Christina on Open Powerlifting, which is an online powerlifting database. If you haven't had a look at it, go and have a look at openpowerlifting.org. That's a very, very nice lift there from Anna. So...
Unfortunately, that is no lift.
Oh,
I think
she
it
done.
was a jumped command.
Too bad.
okay, so the press itself was very easy,
Right. Yeah.
but she must have jumped one of the commands.
It's it is so easy to it is very, very easy to jump commands in powerlifting.
So I've just looked up Christina, and she's been doing bench only for the past year or so. She pressed 112.5 kilos at the World Classic bench.
Was that in the 72 class? No. Must have been it. What? 84s?
She was in the 84s.
Ah,
So she's previously competed 84,
right.
and this is her first one in the
I see.
72s. Oh, now that was a bit of a fight there for Rachel.
Yeah, still managed to drive it through though.
Good lift,
Yeah.
70 kilos for Rachel Atkinson.
That was a good lift. I'm not sure how much more she'll have in the tank though. That looked a bit of a struggle for me. And with bench press, you know, you're using a lot of shoulder muscles. They're very small muscles. You can run out of energy very quickly.
Yeah.
Bar is loaded, 72.5
Yeah.
kilos, Gemma Surtees.
So it's Gemma all the way down from Yorkshire North East.
So Gemma's setting up. She set up with her feet on the bench. Oh, she's repeating the setup for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Oh.
I think her belt may have popped open. She
Or maybe
just
she didn't
adjusted her
fasten it.
belt.
30
Yeah,
seconds.
possibly.
Plenty of
So she's
time.
still got time. She's still got time. So yeah, she's doing bench with her feet on the bench to get her shoulders pressed really in and to get the the arch kind of really forced up, and then she's placing her feet down. It's quite a common setup that you'll see.
Yeah, I do the same.
Ah, right. I think I tried it once in the gym, and my balance is generally not that great, to be honest, Joe. And actually, I really felt like I was going to roll off the bench.
Oh, really?
Have you always kind of found that you were comfortable doing that, or did it take a bit of practice?
I've always set up like that. And if I try and set up without putting my feet up on the bench, I can't quite get my chest tipped up as high.
Okay, interesting.
But I think you train on non-competition standard equipment in your gym.
That's
Is that
correct.
right?
That's
yeah.
correct.
So I think maybe your bench is maybe a bit narrower.
Oh, that's quite possible. Yeah, that's quite possible. Yeah, and also quite squashy as well sometimes.
Oh, that puts me off, squashy bench.
Yeah.
Bar is loaded. 75 kilos. Rebecca Kay.
Okay, here's Rebecca. She made short work, I think, for her opener. She's only gone up 2.5 kilos.
Another feet on the bench set up there. Yeah. Now, she then, although I don't set up with my feet on the bench, I do what she just did for the second part of the setup. Okay, let's see the press. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah,
Tough off the chest, but it
got there. So the second part of the setup there was that she took the bar from the spotters while her bum was still off the bench, and so that her like entire body was really, really high.
A little bit of controversial.
I like to do that.
Yeah.
I like to do that.
Why do you like to do that? No, I don't do that.
The
My
reason
bum
why I
never
do
comes
that-
off the bench.
Okay. The reason why I do that, and I really like it, is that my arms are then very, very tight in against my body. And I feel like I get a great deal of stability by having my arms tight into my body. So I'm able to do that because basically my shoulders on the bench and then my bum's like really high in the air. So my body's kind of vertical, if you like, and my arms are tucked right in against my body.
Okay.
And I feel that it's then a very efficient unracking. I can unrack in the gym myself quite a lot of weight by doing that.
Oh, difficult
this
for
was
that.
tough, and unfortunately she didn't quite make it there.
I think that was just a bit too heavy.
Bia Wright missed that, unfortunately.
80 is the next weight on the bars.
Zoe Clark.
She'll be followed by Natasha Eaton and
Zoe
Natalie
Clark,
Cameron.
80 kilos is the next attempt here.
So we're coming back up into the really huge numbers. Hopefully Zoe's going to... Here she is. Here she comes. She was just adjusting her hair. You have to have your hair tied up on bench press, because if you've got long flowing locks, the centre ref still needs to be able to see if your head comes up. Your head must remain on the bench. Yeah, you have to have it tied up.
Oh, it didn't occur to me that you had to worry about that here. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always just put mine up in the top knot anyway to get it out of the way, so never had to worry.
Well, you don't want the spotter standing on it, do you?
True. That was a really nicely executed press, I thought.
3 white lights and a good lift for Zoe
yeah.
Clark at 80 kilos. 80 remains on the bar for Natasha Eaton, Natalie Cameron and Claire Tocker to follow.
I always feel sad that, I think that in any normal situation, female bench pressers are hugely undervalued, in like a regular gym, because most gym goers simply don't understand the relative differences in strength.
True.
A lot of gym goers don't even understand the difference that body weight makes, incredibly.
Really?
Yeah. For some gym goers, it's never occurred to them that a larger person will be able to lift more. So it's never occurred to them that some giant lump in the gym may not actually know that much about strength training. It's just like they're strong just because they're large. So some people haven't realised that.
Oh, she's pressed it out, but I don't know. Did the bum come up?
It was
a bit of
real
a
grind,
mess, wasn't it?
Let's see. She's waiting for the lights.
And she
and
got
she's
it.
jumping up and down.
She did. Wow.
Really good. So I see often in gyms, women are very down even on their own bench press strength, their own strength in general, and they're simply unaware of their own accomplishments a lot of the time. Female lifters in regular gyms. In powerlifting communities, people are much more knowledgeable, and I think there's a real appreciation for women's strength.
Yeah.
But in a regular gym, you can see a very strong woman, and no one in the gym will realise.
So we seem to have lost the little graphic in the corner that tells you who this is. This is Natalie Cameron. She opened at 82.5. She's taking 87.5 for a second. A lovely big arch there.
Yes, that is nice.
Yeah, she kept her chest really high.
Yeah.
3 white lights and a good lift for Natalie.
A great cue for me is to use your back when you're lifting. Use your upper back, and that really, it really pulls your lats in, tightens your lats up, lifts the chest.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we've got the graphic back. Fantastic.
Bar is loaded. 100
So
kilos.
Claire is coming out for 100 kilos for her second
yeah,
attempt.
Yeah.
That's an awesome. But
Yes.
95 kilos presented no problem, did it?
Yeah, no, it's really fantastic. So, I mean, to be honest, this is so exceptional that you wouldn't have to know anything about strength to know that this is an exceptional
Well, in the gym
bench
you would
press.
say this was a 2-plate bench, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, most guys would be delighted, even if they trained for a while. Like, most guys
there
have
it
to train for
goes.
a while to reach 100 kilos on the bench.
Oof.
That's an accomplishment for most male
Did it
lifters.
dip?
What happened there?
Did she get it?
2 to 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It seemed to me that it dipped from this angle and the centre ref agreed, but if it didn't look like that from the sides, the side referees see something very different because they're really looking at the plates, not the bar. So it's sometimes very difficult to see the bar dip.
I see. Yeah. And I think also, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but because the rule about the bar dipping applies to the entire bar, not just one
the
side,
whole bar has to
that
go
one
down.
side could dip, but it doesn't mean the entire bar has dipped.
True.
And so the side referees also, cannot always see completely.
So
right.
your graphic says Claire, but this is actually Christina. This is Christina Appleby Phillips.
112.5 kilos.
Oh, she's pressed this before, and she pressed it again.
Yes. Yes.
What an incredible lift!
Yeah.
So it looks like Christina's dropped weight class. We looked her results up. She's competed previously in the 84s, and she's down in the 72s, and she's pressing the same weight. That's just incredible. One of the first things to suffer if you lose weight is your bench press.
Actually, do you know what, Joe? I'm just looking at the body weight. I think she's 84 class. I think she's the 84 class. I think her body weight is 84, actually.
Oh, you're correct.
So okay, so let's see what the...
In fact, there's more than one in the
Okay,
84s.
Apologies, we've misled you on them. There's a couple of 84 lifters that are in here, actually. Right.
So it looks like what we've got is the open 72s and the open 84s. Okay, confusing.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so it turns out that wasn't a record yet. So the 84 kilo record is actually 120 kilos.
And that's Stephanie Carrillo Chavez, who I think is I think she's abroad at the moment.
Right, okay. So it's hard to say, there's no reason why Christina shouldn't attempt that. No one's close to her. She has nothing to lose by attempting it.
That was a tough lift. That she got it. I think you can say she's pleased with that.
Yeah. She threw her head back and roared and pumped her fists.
It's great to see it's great to see those celebrations and a bit of emotion from the lifters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, that's what sport is about. Sport is not really about kind of absolute measures, absolute weights that are lifted. Sport is about personal engagement with the story of the lifter or the sports team. And it always has been,
I think that's why if you watch motorsport, if you watch Formula One and you don't know anything about the teams or the drivers, it's very boring.
Absolutely.
There's just cars going round and round. But if you understand the sport, you understand where the teams are, it can be very exciting.
Yeah. And it's all about the struggle, it's about the story, the underdog, the drama.
Okay, that was Rachel Atkinson. She didn't quite make, she wasn't quite strong enough for her third lift there. So that left her with a best of 70 kilos.
So we've seen Christina Appleby Phillips' third attempt is on the board now. Yeah, she's not taking a pop at the record. She's decided to go
I
for
think that would be
115.
quite a stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. So her second lift was substantially slower than the first. It was good. But yes, it looks like she doesn't have a huge amount left in there. So yeah, sensible attempt, I think.
Okay, I think our graphics are one lifter behind. So this is actually Gemma Surtees that's on the platform at the moment.
Yeah, it's a 75 kilo attempt, and Gemma Surtees. Slow, controlled descent there, and very
a slow,
smooth,
controlled press
ascent.
as well.
Very nice, lovely.
She pogos off the platform. Pleased with that.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was quite a classic third attempt.
Yeah, very well judged.
Be right, Rebecca Kay and Zoe Clark to get ready.
So I have heard it said, Joe, controversially, that women's powerlifting is more fun to watch than men's powerlifting.
Oh.
Because the women can be more expressive emotionally. So you see more range of emotion. It's an opinion. I'm not sure it's one that I would necessarily agree
I think
with.
I'm quite a boring lifter on the platform. I think I've got a lot of focus and I don't show much.
Right.
I think until I've done my third lift and then,
Okay.
my face cracks a little bit.
Yeah. But I enjoy seeing the different personalities.
Oh, she's...
This is a real fight. Oh my gosh, what a grind.
Wow.
She's so close. She's locked it.
Wow.
Has she
locked it out?
I do hope she gets quite
I
like this.
don't
What are they
know.
saying? She's waiting. Yay!
That was incredible.
Yes.
That was absolutely incredible
Yeah,
to
yeah.
push through
Yeah.
such a difficult lift.
So I think
It was
so
amazing.
far from the lifts I've seen, Joe, I think that's my lift of the day from what I've seen so far.
Absolutely.
Just to know that
You know what?
still can
Ella
do it.
Steele's 100.5.
I missed it, unfortunately.
That was
So
a,
where was
that was
I
a
when she did
thing
that?
of great beauty.
Yeah, I wish I was warming up. Well, that's why.
That'll be
I was
it.
thinking like, why yeah.
Okay, so we have Rebecca Kay on the platform now. She pressed 75 for her second, and this is 77.5.
That looked very controlled on the way down. No, it's stopped.
Do you know what? I think she
Yeah.
just lost it a tiny bit just in that last inch to the
really?
chest. Yeah, just a little bit of a waver.
Ah, okay. And I don't know about you, Drew. I think for a third attempt, I think that can be that the weight just overwhelms you. And
I think it's
you
a
tend to lose
very,
confidence.
for women anyway, the 2.5 kilo increment is a big jump. If you're getting close to your max,
Yes,
2.5 kilos can be a
it
huge
is.
jump.
As a percentage of the total lift, absolutely.
Mm.
So it can be quite frustrating for female lifters because it can mean that you're basically stuck on the same weight
For quite a long time.
because you
yeah.
just cannot make that 2.5 kilo jump because it's just too big. So that can be pretty dispiriting for female lifters
So
in
I
general.
frequently use the tiny plates in
Yeah,
training.
yeah.
You know, I might do lifts at 98.5 or some odd number like that.
Right,
And that just gives you that tiny incremental progression.
yes. There was a bit of a wobble on the way up. So
There's a bit
again,
of a
the question
wobble,
is,
and
you
did
know,
she
the bar
rack
go
it?
down? There is a card lifted there.
See, I'm seeing yellow and blues. I think there was downward movement at the bar, and she racked it before the command.
Oh.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
You know, especially when it's a fight, you fight your way through that lift and you
Yeah.
get to the top and you
Yeah, yeah.
fling it back into the rack in triumph and, you know,
Yeah.
throw it away.
Yeah, it's like putting down a deadlift before you get the down command.
Yes.
Sometimes you've just been so focused on actually just lifting the
Yeah,
thing.
you slam the
that
thing
then
down
you
in
just-
triumph.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Natasha Eaton coming out for her third. This is 82.5 kilos. She did 80 on her second.
This is 84 kilo class. She's one of our 84 kilo class lifters. Yeah.
I think one of only two.
Yeah, I think looking down the list as well, I agree. Yeah.
So that leaves her on 80 kilos. Well, I think she was never going to catch Christina. I don't think there's anyone in the room that would.
Yeah.
No more changes. There will be no mercy. 90 kilos
Ooh,
is the
ooh,
next
that's
record.
exciting. Okay, so Christina Appleby-Phillips has decided to take a pop
Oh, do you know
at
what?
the
She's
British record,
taken.
but why is she doing a 1 kilo?
Why is she doing 121? She
I
could
have
have
no
done
idea why she's doing
120.5.
121. So if you're breaking a record, you're allowed to take a half kilo step over the existing record. So in order to claim a new record, she only needs 120.5. So quite why she's chosen 121. I'm
Also,
not sure.
she went from 107.5 to 112.5.
Yeah.
So then to put 9 kilos or so on it.
Yeah, I don't know. So we were thinking that her second attempt, you know, it was a good second attempt, but it didn't look like she had another, 9 kilos in there. Let's see.
So 102.5 kilos on the bar, please.
Okay, so that was no lift for Natalie.
And then we go straight into the C group with Sue
So I think that
Giles.
still leaves Natalie second place in the 72 kilo
Bar
class.
is loaded. 102.5
And the
kilos.
first place in the
Claire
72
Tucker.
kilo class is by far and away is Claire Tucker. Now she did a really easy 95 for her first. She pressed a very competent 100 for a second. And this is 102.5.
So impressive.
No lift, unfortunately.
Just not quite strong enough. So that puts Natalie place in the 84s. Claire is the second place in the 84s. And here we come with Christina Appleby-Phillips, 121 kilos.
So we were just told that some of you nice people listening and watching had spotted 84 kilo lifters. Very much for highlighting that. I'm glad we did spot it eventually, and apologies for that. So
it's on the haul.
this is it.
This
This is
is a
121.
Huge lift. This is the biggest lift so far.